This next story has been occupying a very large space in the social media. It's about this very interesting thing, unbelievable you could say, about political parties actually engaging in fraud in registration or in registering their members. Now, Bonnie Tunya is here to throw some light on this. Good evening, Bonnie.
Well, good evening, Njoroge, and always a pleasure to do the news with you. Of course, it is a very shocking and saddening news. Coming just 3 months, less than 3 months to the general elections, there are reports that political parties are fraudulently registering their party members. And so this becomes the subject of our discussion this afternoon. Now, with less than 3 months to the next general elections and the deadline for the party nominations fast approaching, it is emerging that political parties are in a rush to attract new members, actually being engaged in fraud. Under the new election rules, a political party is only considered a national party if it has at least 2,000 registered members in each of the 47 counties. A feat that has proven to be a hard task for most of the parties fielding candidates for the next elections. Now, details now indicate that political parties fraudulently registered members in a bid to gain legitimacy. What started as isolated complaints by Kenyans on social media has unearthed an ugly party registration fraud. We took a look at some of my colleagues' members in their membership status, and many have been registered without their consent. Now, using the Twitter handles Fake Party Membership Kenya, which was trending most of the evening, Kenyans expressed shock at finding out they were registered political party members without their consent. Now, here are some of the sentiments coming from Kenyans on Twitter. There is John Riaga says, someone remind me when I became TNA member. I need some legal advice on this. Twitter handle Heidi Girl says, I have been registered under Conservative Party. What is Conservative Party? Emma Mwangi under the handle Buna says, where did these people get my details? I'm a member of the People's Patriotic Party of Kenya. Obara at Obara1 says, Raymond Obare Obenga being me and at Uhuru Kenyatta, how did I get there? I was coded a long time ago. James Anyona with the handle Jimmy Lick says, my party allegiance is ODM, yet I'm fakely registered as TNA. How now? There is also Eve Osoro says, my brother, I have registered under Mwangaza Party. Who runs that party? And finally, Ken Kiberenge says, what implications of fake party membership Kenya is what if you apply for a position in IEBC in the next 5 years won't be legible?
Let's objectively look at this whole issue by going to Studio B, where Joe Ageo is standing by with a very senior party official to shed more light on this subject. Joe Ageo.
All right, thank you very much, Njoroge Mwaura. Indeed, as Bonnie was mentioning there, this is an issue that has captured the imagination of a lot of people, caused anxiety and heated debates, mainly on social media, as you mentioned there. And joining us this evening to speak more about this issue is none other than the chairman of the National Alliance, that is TNA, and that's Johnson Sakaja. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And a lot of people are asking, is your party fraudulently registering people into its ranks?
Thank you very much for having me on today. I'd like to state, first of all, categorically that the National Alliance has no need or intention of registering people fraudulently, but it's an issue that actually has raised a lot of concern. And I think to explain it better, maybe I can explain to you my party's registration process, first of all, because I speak for the party, not all other parties.
But it is about something that is appearing on the official website of the IEBC, and speaking to anybody at the IEBC, they will tell you that the system is secure, that there is a software given to political parties such as yours, and they give a list that the IEBC, the register of political parties, then posts on the website.
Yes, that's why I want to explain the process. What we do at TNA is we have registration cards. We sell those cards. We have sold up to 6 million cards by now in the last 7 months. That card goes hand in hand with a resignation form if you're a member of any other political party, as well as a registration form into the party. Now, many of those cards, because we have offices all across the country, are filled in on the ground, and in the card you have to sign and say that you've resigned from any other political party which you could have joined. Those cards are then brought to our headquarters. where they're filled in by a team that works for, I think, 16 hours, almost 16 hours a day. In fact, even right now, you'll find people still keying in those registration details at our offices, and they're thereafter transmitted
Mr.
onward
Sakaja,
to
that's
the
all
IEBC.
good, but what about this system? Because it's okay for people to register outside there,
Yes.
but this is a system that was put in place, I think, primarily at the start to ensure that parties met the requirement for membership before they got their certificates.
I think
And-
all
and-
systems, as you know, Joe, have flaws. But I want to tell you that the TNA system, first of all, is watertight, because we are the first party that even launched an SMS number, 4554. We launched it in September. If you want to know whether you're a member of
So
TNA,
where did those names
you can
come
register
from?
it.
Because there are only two people, in the case of the TNA, there are only two people. It's either TNA or the Register of Political Parties. So where did the breach occur?
That is why I'm explaining that it'll be difficult for me to tell you why it occurred, because I know how my system works.
But there is a
The interesting thing,
But
Joe,
this is
is that
how the system works from what I understand, is that there is a secure system that has passwords that are given to political parties that you can distribute to your agents if you want to fill in these forms and give a list to the Register of Political Parties.
that is
So
where you get
surely-
it wrong.
So
because
surely,
that system is in the custody not only of political parties, it is also in the custody of aspirants all across the country.
but
Many who
aspirants
go-
cannot give names of people to the Register of Political Parties.
Those aspirants have the software across
Because
the country.
checking with the Register of Political Parties,
Yes.
there's no, I mean, otherwise I could sit in my house and register anybody to any party. Honestly, that cannot be a system
that's
that
what-
we depend on.
Exactly. That is why we are also questioning, because I can be able to account for each and every member of the National Alliance, because I am in charge of that. I know how that system works. I can account for my members. So if the members who've been fraudulently registered, in fact, we're telling them, and we've been telling them from the beginning, if you find yourself in our register, we are very quick to tell you, one, you can check. No other party has told you to check.
No,
Secondly, you can call a help center and get...
Earlier on, you tweeted and said that this was a ploy by some unpopular parties. What was that about?
Can I explain something interesting? Today, a whole host, and I'm telling you this after we've sold more than 6 million and we've registered more than 1.68 million members as TNA. Very prominent media personalities all of a sudden realized today that they registered in TNA and URP. Why those only?
When
why those two parties?
when they realize it's okay, that is fine, because
they-
it depends on when I check.
did they all
it depends
check
on when,
together
No, I mean
today?
it depends on when I check the system. If I check tomorrow, today, it really doesn't matter. But I think the question
Is
here,
it-
the
isn't
question
it
here
curious
is,
for you?
You said it was something that is a ploy by certain unpopular parties. What
Let me
was that
explain
about?
why.
Which parties are
TNA
those?
in 7 months has been able to register more than 1.5 million members. There are parties that are still struggling to hit 500,000 members, 200,000 members, yet claim to be the most popular parties. They are definitely not happy with that. It is very curious as well that this is close to our nomination time. And at this time, most parties, or rather some parties that are not, that are our detractors, if I may say, want to cast as many aspersions as they can on the credibility
So which
of our
parties
voter
are these
register.
that were doing this today? Because you said on your Twitter handle that this was a ploy by unpopular parties.
I don't think it will be fair for me to name them if they're not given a chance for fair
So are you
hearing
saying these parties
as well
are
over here.
accessing the IEBC system?
Of course,
and
as you
basically
have said yourself, all parties have this system.
So
you have said that,
so
haven't
some
you?
parties are actually registering people and claiming they belong to TNA. Why would
is-
anyone do that?
It is possible because, ask yourself, Joe, of what interest do I have as TNA to register more members now, after I've even hit the 1 million mark? For what? Being a member of TNA does not mean you will vote for TNA at the election. I'm focusing on nominations. I'm focusing on the
So
logistics
are you sorry
of
that there are people
nominations.
who probably want nothing to do with TNA whose names have been put there? Does it
Let me
embarrass
just
you?
finish.
Does it
I
bother you?
am focusing on nominations and logistics. It is in my interest not to have so many members such as to encumber and give me a logistical nightmare. Why would I register members now into my party? And I'd like to say that the IEBC and the Registrar of Political Parties needs to get to the bottom of this, because I think it's a very serious issue. This country has passed a new constitution. Article 38 of which talks about civil and political rights, gives every Kenyan the right to choose the
But
political
my
party
question,
to
Johnson,
which to
is,
belong to.
are you bothered by the fact that there are people
Extremely.
whose names,
Extremely.
because there are people even in journalists like Aaron Ferdinand Omondi, Martin
Exactly.
Mutua,
Who
whose names
incidentally
whose-
all found out
whose,
today.
whose names appear there
Yes.
as members of TNA, which is really
I am
bad for someone
extremely-
who is supposed to be non-partisan,
Let me
like
explain.
in the job that we do.
I am extremely bothered that certain non-members of my party are claiming to be in my system, because I want to conduct a nomination
What are you going to do
process
about this?
that will be conducted by members of my party.
What are you going to do about this?
What we'll do what we have been doing. We have put it out there for people to know our SMS number 4554. If you see that you're a member of TNA and you're fraudulently registered, you can get back to us.
What I'm
you
saying,
can send an email and we will deregister you.
TNA, is this something you're going to take officially with the
Yes.
IEBC and the Register of Political Parties, because it is appearing on their website?
Yes, because it's an encroachment on the rights of Kenyans, and we will write to them and ask them to get to the bottom of it, because they are the custodians of the system, not us. We are not the custodians of that system. We have gone out throughout this country to register members. We have no shortage of agents, and as you know, our party actually has popularity across this country. We have no desire, no intention to fraudulently register anybody onto our party.
To the extent that you have anything to do with it, to the extent that your party's name is involved, any apologies, nothing that bothers you?
I think, as I've said, I am extremely bothered by the fact that there might be members who are not members of my party who are in that register according to the Register of Political Parties, because I want to conduct a nomination process that is free and fair and credible, and that can only be conducted by bona fide members of the National Alliance.
Johnson Sakaja, Chairman of TNA, thank you very much for joining us. We've been speaking to the Chairman of the National Alliance over this issue that has been going on throughout today, where there's been discussion on social media about what appears to be fraudulent registration of persons who probably want nothing to do with the various parties in which their names have appeared. And I'll just hand you back now to Njoroge Mwaura, who is standing by with the rest of the day's news. Njoroge.